Hi there, Sagittarius, and welcome back to Bon Echo Tarot. I am here with your full moon, blood moon, eclipse, and Mercury Retrograde report. Sorry, it's been, Mercury's definitely messing with me. It's taken me 3 days to get this whole set of videos together. I should have known better, but it's okay. The energies are still going and it's all still relevant. So what I've done is I've taken a look at the astrology for all signs, and then I've gotten a little bit more specific for each sign, and then I'm going to do 2 tarot readings, one specifically on the eclipse and all the energies that are swirling for that, and then a smaller spread for Mercury retrograde. So let's start with the global astrology. And speaking of which, there are a few different sites that I like to refer to for my astrology information. And those are Astrology King, Astro Mojo, Michelle Knight, and Aquarius Papers. I've been reading a lot of them for years. And I find that the information that they provide has been incredibly insightful over the years. So if you want to check them out, I highly encourage that you do so. What most astrologers seem to be in a consensus about is that this is a very significant time for all of us. It's the ending of one significant chapter as we move into another one. It may be 7-year kind of thing. So we're all, in the same boat, but it's playing out. The dynamics are a little different for each sign because it's going to be happening in different houses of our astrological chart. So we're all at this peak of our own transformation. There's so much tension out there, which is going to cause some friction. The contrasts of energies are going to be difficult to manage, but it's also going to make us a little bit more creative too. So, there's been some lovely songs that have been written out of sorrow, and lots of interesting songs from frustration and whatnot. But this, and with the grief of everything, as we shed the old, this eclipse is really here to shake us up a little bit, to make sure that we're not carrying anything that's going to still hold us back into this next phase. So the things to watch for all across the board is that Mars is making us more vulnerable to losing it, getting aggressive when we should maybe just stay assertive, and possibly even folks who are really having a tough time with it may become combative and violent, because we're all just basically being tested for grace under pressure right now, and if we're not holding it together, the mess that we're going to have to clean up will become the predominant aspect of what's happening now for you. So it's important to be mindful about the choices that you're making, the things that you're saying, the actions that you're taking, etc., etc. So that's the global bit. The specific Sag stuff is pretty intense, I gotta say, Sag. We're basically this summer going through a series of 3 eclipses. So the first one happened on July 12th. Then we had this one July 27th, and then there's another one coming August 10th, or August 11th, sorry. So the first one in July, on July 12th, was an eclipse in your 8th house. So the 8th house is the house of intimacy, death, sex, and other people's money. So yeah, so that's some pretty heavy duty stuff. So if the first half of July was really intense for you, I can tell you that it actually is working towards something maybe a little lighter. Still just as important, but not quite as heavy. So this eclipse is in your 3rd house of communication, travel, writing, that sort of thing. So, so it'll be especially important for right through this weekend. And my apologies that this video wasn't up earlier. But it's really, really important that you are very careful of the words that you choose through this time. And if you are traveling, make sure you are double, and triple, quadruple checking everything, because an eclipse in combination with Mercury retrograde is definitely going to make things challenging. Or conversely, could be making it super easy. It depends on your personal experience, but it's definitely those are the basic things that are being effective. Now, Mercury retrograde and the eclipse that is happening on August 11th are both happening in the same house, and that's in your 9th house of wisdom, learning, higher learning, and spirituality. So after you traveled from the intensity of the 8th house, got into communication, so it's kind of like things happening in your relationships with other people, and then having a chance to express that. And then now is more of an introspective, because Mercury retrograde is all about reviewing, reflection, all of that sort of thing. So you're going to find yourself drawn to more to different concepts of thinking, different ways of perceiving the world from a spiritual and intellectual standpoint. It's really, really, really important that you honor that this is a significant part of your healing process in terms of closing out the last chapter and moving on to the next one. So if there's anything lingering in terms of pain or issues that you haven't quite dealt with from the last few years, now is the time to get into it. And because it's the house of spirituality as well, this is very much about healing your spirit. And Mercury retrograde is going to give you the time to do that if you haven't found the time to do that so far, or if you've been distracted with other things. It's kind of like you will find too that anything in business or your career is going to slow down a little bit so that you can do more of this focus on your individual perception of your life and whatnot. And as with everybody else, Mars is increasing your self-confidence. Venus is actually offering Sagittarius new opportunities with love and money. Neptune is kind of confusing you. So you might want to check into that. If you're going through like a particularly hazy kind of feeling right now, you might want to look into what the effects are of Neptune in your personal chart. But it's all of these things are helping you to develop your inner voice, a better dialogue internally than you have had in the past. So with all of that, that's the astrology. Let's get into the cards. So what sorts of insights can we get for Sagittarius in the energies of the blood moon eclipse, July 27th? What sorts of insights can we get into the energies for Sagittarius for the blood moon eclipse, July 27th? All right, let's see what we got. Crazy times. Really, really crazy times. But good times. You know, like very, change can be hard, but change can also be very exciting. And Sagittarius is always looking for something to do, so there's no reason why this can't be a good time. But once we get to the Mercury retrograde spread, we'll take a little bit of a deeper look there. All right, so eclipse energies for Sagittarius. Starting now. All right. All right, so in the hidden ground, in the background, you have the Knight of Wands. So this could be you. It also could be another fire sign that is a part of this process with you. So, getting right into it. The central issue is the Four of Cups. So this is one of those classic examples of being too focused on what's not happening and missing the opportunities that are whispering around you because of a sense of loss. Focus too much on grief. Grief and loss. Too much focus on this. It's also the card that suggests that gratitude is the best place to go. Because when we enter a state of gratitude, we stop looking at the negative and we see what is in front of us. So Sag may want to consider that. Your obstacle in the spread is the Knight of Cups. So energetically, this is loving, courting, flirting, like sweet flirting, not player flirting. It also could be a water sign, so Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, that's somehow acting as an obstacle in your circumstances. Foundation of your reading is the Hierophant. So on one level, this could be that at the foundation of everything that you're working through is a solid, committed relationship. However, this is also very much in keeping with the ninth house, which is the house of philosophy and what else did I have down here? Right, spirituality, learning. That's what this is. So that's kind of a throw to your focus in Mercury retrograde for the next 3 weeks. This is what's, I guess, kind of kicking it off. Hierophant is signaling that that's being kicked off with this eclipse. So, Knight of Swords in your recent past, so maybe you recently lost it, or maybe your temper hasn't been as easy to control as you wish. You've been more impatient with people, or somebody has been impatient with you, and there's maybe an air sign, maybe that you've been having issues with. What's crowning you, unfortunately, is the Nine of Swords. So, bad thoughts, negative thinking, obsessive thinking, focusing too much on what's not going right and not enough focus, or just dropping it and being open to new possibilities. And your short-term outcome, your near future, is the World. So again, this is just echoing what the astrology is saying, and that this is the end of one chapter in the beginning of another. Who are you? Well, you would be the Wheel of Fortune. So things are turning in your favor. You know, things are changing. They're changing for the better. You're changing for the better. And you're in sync. So it means that you're in sync. The environment around you is the Fool. So you are surrounded also by people within your community who are embarking on new things. So you share a lot in common in that respect, and you all seem to be on the same page. Your hopes and fears is exhaustion. So if you've been feeling pretty tired lately, I mean, these energies have been really, really, really intense. And if you've been, you just came out of 8th house stuff that you were working on earlier in July, it's been, it could be, that you've burned out a little bit, or maybe you're afraid that you will burn out because you don't see a chance to rest. Your final outcome is the Two of Pentacles. So it's, keeping all balls in the air, staying away from drama, choices and decisions to make. These are all the things that are on your mind this eclipse. So let's dig into Mercury Retrograde and see what insights we can get in there. The first card that I will be pulling will be What's Under Review, and the second card will be the best advice for processing the changes, and the third card will be a glimpse of what's coming. So let's see, Sagittarius, what insights we can get into Mercury Retrograde this time around for August 2018 for Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Mercury Retrograde, August 2018. So, what's under review would be the Page of Cups. So, it could be, how much you're offering in a relationship, or how much is being offered to you in a relationship. And then the best advice for processing changes, the Five of Wands. So maybe there are, I don't know. See, Five of Wands in terms of, I don't see that as being a productive way of getting things done. But at the same time, who am I to judge? So maybe you are afraid of confrontation. But maybe it's the very thing that's going to be the catalyst to make positive change, or, get to the objective that you actually have. A glimpse of what's coming, the Six of Wands. So that's success, recognition from your peers, a sense of accomplishment after a lot of hard work. I think you're on track, Sagittarius, and essentially, I think perhaps it's been difficult with all of the changes that you've been processing, the things that have come to an end, the leaving behind of one chapter and entering a new one. It's possible that that you lost that loving feeling. that maybe you have to return to a more loving, flirtatious kind of attitude. But at the same time, there may be issues that really need to be battled out and hammered through. Maybe messy confrontation isn't really as bad as you think it might be. And then, like I said, glimpse of what's coming. You got this. So if that's any incentive for you to work through the kinds of issues that you may have to be working through this Mercury retrograde, just know that in the end, you will be successful. But it's really, really important that you're kind to yourself through this process. It's important that we all are. So I hope you found this reading helpful, Sag. And please share, like, subscribe, etc., etc. And if you are interested in a personal reading, you can find me on Facebook at Bonacco Tarot, and you can leave me a message there. I'm also writing articles here and there, and Mercury retrograde seems to be my thing. So, like I said, I hope you found this helpful, and thanks so much for your support. We'll see you again.